Now, in yesterday's episode, when I was drenching this thing, if you remember, I had thinned this one out, and I was thinking about it, and what you couldn't see because I was moved in so close is that I was just right in close like this. I made the mistake of pulling my trigger all the way back, and it just immediately flooded. It just happened so fast I didn't have a chance to see what happened. Normally when I spray, I'm about 6 inches away. Well, depending on what I'm doing. But I'm going to take this piece of Tony's model here, which we've used for several different things over the last year and a half. And I'm just going to take this paint because I'm not going to be able to use it on the hood or the Rodney, because as I mentioned, I want to use paint that hasn't been tinted one way or the other. So this is, well, it's not garbage, but I mean, I don't mind if I waste it. So I'm going to take this and shake it up again, and I just want to see if I can maybe, by just pulling back just a little bit. Obviously there's no paint in here right now, but that's what I plan to do right now. I just want to, just see if I can't do a better job. I mean, this was terrible. I couldn't believe that I'd soaked it like that, and then I gave it another little shot yet. Well, the reason I did that was because I had noticed, I thought it looked like it needed it a little bit from this angle, but anyway. Okay, we're going to try and paint this little spot right here. Got the rest all masked off, and we'll see how many coats it's going to take to cover this dark green with this light gray. Now remember, this is thinned out a little bit too much. Now we'll get our fan going here. Okay, now remember, I don't want to be pulling the trigger back all the way right away, so we'll just get the air going. I'm going to increase the pressure. I started it quite low. Added about 12. I've increased it to about 18. There we go. Pull the trigger back all the way and see what happens here. Don't want to be putting it on too thick or it's going to run. I could possibly increase the pressure just a little bit more, but we'll just leave it where it is because it seems to be working good. Okay, we'll let that dry and give it another coat. I'll have to clean the airbrush, of course. Okay, we're all cleaned up here and ready for the next time. And when I started spraying, before I increased the pressure, it was at about 15, 13 pounds maybe. And then I boosted it, and I just checked a few minutes ago to see what it was I boosted it up to, and it was 17 pounds. I wanted to start really low because I knew this was really thin. Now, you should be able to spray something as thin as, pure isopropyl if you want to. I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't do that. But I mean, who wants to, right? But one of the viewers made a comment about a year and a half ago when I first got this thing. Maybe it wasn't quite a year and a half ago. But anyway, his comment went something like this: when you're working with an airbrush, it's 50% luck and 50% voodoo. Now, of course, he was kidding, but it's kind of true. It just because it worked really good at 17 pounds this time, I might do it again tomorrow, and I might have to increase or decrease the pressure. There seems to be sometimes, although you can generally guess what's going to happen, sometimes it really fools you. Like with this thing when I sprayed it there. Now that was my own fault. I was way too close. Now with the macro lens, you couldn't see that I was way too close, but I was. That was really stupid. I shouldn't have shown that actually, but I did. It's too late now. I can't take it out. Anyway, we'll give this a little bit of time here and let it dry, and then I'll look at it with the super macro and then see if we can see any of the dark green. This dark green. If we can cover this dark green in a couple of coats, well, we did pretty good, especially when it's thinned out this much. Okay, we are perfectly dry here now. And we could probably get away with not giving it a second coat. But let's just sort of move in here on this little area right here and try not to scratch it. And I'm almost seeing green, through the gray here. Anyway, let's just zoom in a bit. Now remember, flat paint is supposed to look rough. I'll put the light at more of an acute angle, and the little bumps will cast a shadow, and they'll be sort of amplified a little bit. Anyway, if the flat paint was smooth, it would be glossy. Next time you do something with flat paint, take a magnifying glass and look at it up close. You'll notice it's bumpy. Okay, now that all being said, in all likelihood it might have been a little bit less bumpy, but not much, if I had been going a little bit slower. I don't have any paint in here yet, but if you remember yesterday, I was going too fast. I should have been probably about like that. And that's what I'm going to do with the second coat. I'm going to try and move it just a little bit slower so that the paint will have a chance to sort of, you might say, pool a little bit. In other words, what was happening was, because I was going back and forth so many times, I was building bumps upon bumps. I know what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard to describe. Anyway, let's see what we can do here with our second coat. I've already shaken this up a few minutes ago in the paint shaker, so it's pretty good. Shouldn't need a whole lot. Let me look in there. What have I got? Maybe I better put in a little bit more. Okay, so I have another pipette that I can get the end off of now. Alright, let's get our fan going and we'll give it a second coat here. Okay, we got another little cup here for us. And I don't know exactly how much time has passed here, but probably only about as much time as it took me to clean up my airbrush, so I'm guessing 15 minutes. And we'll just take this off now. We'll give it a couple of hours and then we'll take a real close look again like we did before. Okay, now before we order our plexiglass, I just want to double check and make sure that I've got the measurements correct. Now I think if I order it about 1/16 of an inch smaller than it has to be to fit perfectly. Okay, if it's 53, let's get that exactly right here. Okay, 53.5, yeah, that's right there. All right, well, I know that this board here is the same length as the one at the top, so I don't need to measure. And 53.5, and then the height. Okay, if it's 46.5 the other way, that'll be all right. 46.5, yeah, that's what I got written down. I'll just check it over here to make sure. I guess I'm going to have to move the camera. Here, we'll try this again. Maybe I'll go over on this side and then I can get it up against here nice and flat. Yeah, 46.5. So if it's 46.5, it's actually 46 and 9/16. 1, 2, 3, 4, or more like, yeah. It's a little bit more than 46.5 to the very top, but I want it to have a little bit of wiggle room. So 46.5. You know what they say, measure twice, cut once. Okay, 46.5, that'll be the height. That'll be perfect. And 53.5. Okay, so I got it right. So I've triple checked. Okay, 46.5 by 53.5. Okay, why am I making such a big deal about making sure that I got the measurements just right? Well, as you can imagine, a piece of plexiglass that size will not be cheap. I don't know if glass would be cheaper or not, but plexiglass would be a lot safer for this situation. So, yeah, I just want to make double sure I've got it right before I order it. Because if they cut it, if I order it too small, I can't stretch it. I suppose I can always, if it's too big, I could always cut it on my table saw. I have cut plexiglass on my table saw before. Now, it does smell up the whole house. However, it's summertime and I can open my windows. But, I mean, why go to all that work if you don't have to? If they can cut it to within 1/16 of an inch, this shouldn't be a problem. And I don't see why they can't. I can. Okay, let's slip on the super macro and have a look at our paint here. Alright, we may not be exactly in the same area as we were before, but we're pretty close. And once again, I'm going to lay the light down on its side so it's coming in at more of an acute angle, and I'm going to try not to bump anything here. Okay, now we'll do a before and after and see if we notice any big difference. I got a feeling we won't. Yes, you can notice a little bit of difference going on there, but there's not that much. We probably could have got away with just one coat. My plan is that later this afternoon I'm going to shoot off an email to a place here in Winnipeg that sells plexiglass. We'll see what they got to say. Give them the dimensions. Let them recommend a thickness. I'm guessing maybe 3/16 or maybe a little thinner would be good enough. However, we'll see what happens. See you tomorrow, and thanks for watching.